Parashat Vayetze opens with Jacob's flight from the land of Israel. As a result of his deception and betrayal, Jacob is forced to flee from the murderous intent of his brother Esau. The fear and uncertainty surrounding Jacob's journey lead to the mysterious episode with which the Parashat opens. Genesis 28 narrates, Jacob came upon a certain place, Vayifga b'makom, and stopped there for the night. Taking one of the stones of that place, he put it under his head. He had a dream, a stairway was set, and the angels of God were ascending and descending. Strikingly, God reiterates the promise of the inheritance of the land to Jacob and his descendants, a vow made to his grandfather before. Quote, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. The ground on which you are lying I will assign to you and your offspring, unquote. Yet, on closer examination of the divine promise, we discover a subtle but dramatic difference between God's promise to Abraham and God's promise to Jacob. God tells Abraham, lift up your eyes, sana enecha, and see the place where you are, for all of this land that I will give to you and to your seed for eternity, unquote. What is the qualitative nature of these two promises? And how may we derive meaning from them today, especially with regard to our own relationship with Israel? Meir Shalev comments on the difference between these promises in his work Reshit, in the beginning, a book about the first occurrences of various events and phenomenon in Torah. Shalev writes that the essence of Abraham's promise is connected to the eye, sight, and seeing. Jacob's promise, however, is connected to his body, the physical connection of his body resting on the land. To be sure, Shalev writes, the eye beholds a vast area which is far greater than the body, and it rests on a small parcel of land. But seeing does not involve the same intimacy as physically resting upon something. From here, we see that Abraham had a fleeting, distant, and relatively cold relationship to the land of Israel, distant and abstract, as only the sense of sight could impart. In sharp contrast, we have the figure of Jacob, who had complete and direct contact with the land, contact between the land and his body, between man and the soil of the earth. Meir Shalev's keen sensitivity and literary eye leads us to a deeper understanding of the differing relationships of our ancestors to the land of Israel. While Abraham's was one of sight and relative distance, Jacob's was one of contact, physical connection, and intimacy. This remarkable reading teaches us a great deal about our own relationships with the land of Israel. While it's important to keep our eyes upon the Jewish homeland, seeing from a distance is insufficient. We need to become part of the story. The way we become part of this modern-day miracle is by making ourselves present in the land. Living in Israel is indeed a sacred endeavor and a treasured mitzvah, and frequent visits to Israel are no less important. At Schechter Institutes, we just wrapped up a magnificent 40th anniversary Israel mission. Some highlights of the week included a very inspiring visit to a Tali school in Ma'ale Adumim, a visit with President Herzog, the dedication of our new library and administration building, a spirited and beautiful ordination ceremony for our newly minted rabbis, bearing witness at Kfar Aza, and taking in the devastation and memorials of the Re'im Nova Festival site, and then Friday Shabbat at Neve Schechter. Needless to say, it was a meaningful and transformative experience. May we live with the keen sight of Abraham and the physical connection of Jacob, continually strengthening our ties and bonds to the promised homeland of Israel, praying for a speedy return of our hostages and an end to this war on all fronts, and wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom from Israel.